Planning. Love it, right? Can't wait. You guys have all set those SMART goals. Remember SMART to get your Avon business going and growing, right? So we're going to take the next steps and make those goals a reality. So we're going to create a good plan. It'll ensure that you're doing the right stuff with the time that you decide to dedicate to your Avon business. Everybody can see my screen, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Great. Thanks, Cynthia. Wonderful. Cynthia's typing it in if you guys can't see the chat box. Thank you guys. Okay, so planning. We're on it, right? So the O in BOSS is outreach. All of you, I think all of you for the most part have been through the BOSS workshop or one of the other workshops that we just did. So I think everybody's familiar with the O in outreach. And then planning to grow your team. So we're going to do that today as well. Planning your Avon time, which I've heard time management. If you remember back to those competencies that we did at the beginning, most of you put that you were either challenged or a little bit inconsistent with time management, right? And then planning the right balance of activities. So what are the activities and how can I fit them in order to get to my goal? Prioritizing and gaining control of your business. And then planning to take action, the dreaded 2-week calendar, right? We all talked about this. We talked about what you utilize as a calendar and, really seeing if we can share that with me and see how we can go about doing that. So we'll talk about your calendar closer to the end and as we go through the application guide. Has everybody had a chance to look at the application guide I sent on Friday?
Yes.
Great. I'm just going to remind you, if you have it and you've printed it, it's a good idea to have it out in front of you because you may find that you can start to complete it as we're going through these seminars. Again, this is via a learning experience from us doing this now our third or fourth time. We didn't do that at the beginning, and we've heard feedback that now if you have it out, a lot of what we speak to, right, is on there during the seminar. So you're able to get kind of a jump start on it, which is always nice. So then you don't have to worry about it as much in the next 2 weeks before our one-on-one. So the O in BOSS is outreach, and this is what I love now because we think of outreach as prospecting too, right? And we talked a lot about changing our verbiage to just outreach, because even if we're outreaching to customers or potential team members, it all kind of looks the same. So why not just call it outreach instead of prospecting or customer search or whatever it is? It's just outreach. So who do you need to know to achieve your goals? So these are some things to start your plan that you want to be asking yourself. And what do you need to do to meet those new people? This business is a people business, so you need to plan your outreach, right? You can't just hope that it happens. It has to be a planned activity on your calendar. So let's begin by talking about how you can plan to grow your team. We can grow your teams in a couple different ways, right? We just said it. We can recruit new representatives to join Avon, and we can help some of our current representatives achieve a leader title, which is a lot of what we talked about when we were in the field this week together, right? We talked about either getting new representatives, or we talked a lot about who on your team you really want to mentor, develop, and coach in order to get to that next leader level, or maybe a new leader level, right? Maybe they're not even in leadership. So let's just start by discussing that first one, finding new people, right? So what are some of the best ways to find people to join Avon? They might not be new people, so don't listen to my verbiage. Any ways we can think of to find people to join Avon? Everybody's sleeping. It's Monday. We had a long weekend, huh?
First of all, you have to get out among people and
Yeah.
meet people.
Yeah. Can't sit at home, huh?
Right.
Doesn't
They're not going to come knocking on your door.
happen. It can happen because we talked about some ways with social media over the last couple of weeks as
It,
well. But
it
completely agree with you, Jackie, that you've got to get out and about, right? So, what are some of your favorite places to go to find people to join Avon? Where have you been most successful? Supermarkets, yes. Cynthia is super successful at the supermarkets, and I know she goes to some of the Spanish markets as well. We talked about that, so she's really successful at that. I'm assuming she can't talk today. She might have the baby, so she's chiming in via chat, which is great. If you guys can't talk and you want to ever type in the chat box, I try to look at it, so it pops up. So besides the supermarket, yep, that's a great one.
Can do events.
Yes, I was waiting for that one because every single one of you that I was out with was talking to me about all these wonderful things you have coming up, these vendor events or, different events that you do at the mall or things like that. So, yeah, every single one of you talked about events. So, I love that. That's an easy way to find a lot of people, right, in one place. And they're looking for something usually, they're there for a reason. So great, great places. Yeah. And we know the regular places too, the coffee shop and the laundromat and all those places too. I just wanted to talk about a couple today.
I actually talked to a lady at church yesterday because she likes to order, and her husband said you should sign up so you would get the commission. And I don't know if he meant it as a joke, but I told her to call me and
Yeah.
we would talk. We would talk.
Great. Yeah, any kind of religious organizations, church, anything like that, absolutely. Those are the best places too. Those are people you see on a consistent basis, right? I love that. But how funny that he said it for you. That's
He did.
great.
I normally do not conduct any business
Mhm.
at church, but
But if it
just
comes up, right?
it came up. I
Yep.
didn't bring it up. It came up, so I didn't feel too bad about
No, and a lot of times that's just how it happens, right? It just they know you sell Avon, right? They just know that you're with Avon, and so they come up to you and they might say something, and her husband's thinking, "Well, gosh, you spend so much money with Avon, why don't you do it? And that way we can save some money instead of spend it all, right?" So that's fantastic. So now you have an appointment with her to talk to her a little bit more about it, right? A phone call conversation. Love it.
it. I do.
Fantastic. Great. So, in order to find those next team members, you need to talk to the people you already know, right? And we talked a lot about this, the warm market. In addition, it's important to find opportunities to connect with new people. So, remember, every interaction is an opportunity to grow your team. We have to plan those, it says prospecting, I'm going to switch it and say outreach activities in order to ensure that we continue to make new connections. So here's some ideas on the slide. Reflect on your success and repeat. We talked a lot about this when we were together. Pursue your top customers. Yes, same thing right there. Jackie just said it. Leverage your personal network, family, friends, people you knew. Yes, absolutely. Get involved in your community. So PTA, schools, hospitals, etc. Melanie's not on the call because she's at work today, but I know she does a lot with like schools and PTA. So attending community events, job fairs, festivals. We said that, right? We said those vendor events, festivals. Oh my gosh, we're going to have so many festivals starting to come up with the spring and Mother's Day and all of that happening. So keep an eye out for those. Fundraisers. Who in here has done a fundraiser before? I know
I
Mel.
have.
Good. How has it worked for you? Melanie's actually in the process of doing one right now, so I'll definitely speak to it after, she gets done and how it went. So she's actually doing one with a woman right now, so it'll be a good experience for us to look at how it came about and what the success was from it. Yeah, so fundraisers are great. Another great time to do fundraisers. Bug Guard's going to be back soon, right? So getting set up with those school sports teams for sure with the Bug Guard and any kind of nonprofit organization. And then opportunity meetings. So helping people see the opportunity, and whether those opportunity meetings are, via Zoom or this forum GoToMeeting or in person, whatever it may be. And we think of an opportunity meeting, we may think on a large scale where we have to rent out a room and, it's hundreds of people. And now it can be 2 or 3 people. I mean, it can be a very small, intimate conversation. It doesn't need to be this huge, crazy, projector slideshow PowerPoint presentation. It can literally just be you, and you can print it out. You guys can borrow mine. I have a flip chart with the opportunity meeting on it. So anytime you want to do that, just let me know. Again, it could just be a couple people. You could ask those couple people to invite somebody they know too, and you're just having coffee, sitting around talking about Avon, right? Again, remember, what's the worst that can happen? There'll be a new customer. Great. We love that too. Anything else besides what's on here that's worked well for you? I mean, I think we've pretty much covered everything, but I want to make sure we're not missing anything. I don't think so. Well, you can interrupt me, shout it out if you think of something. So now we're going to focus on the plan, the plan for identifying potential leaders on your team. So, good one, right? So we've got the grid here. So we've got potential leaders. You see that big star. We're looking for someone with high motivation on your team and high sales success. So high motivation, they believe in it, right? They have a strong belief in Avon. They want to grow. They're driven. They're coachable. They're the people who are always talking and participating and giving ideas and coming to the meetings. They're super positive and they love to help others, no matter whether those people are on their team or not. They just really like to reach out, right? And then successful sales. So this is how you're going to identify people when you're looking through your genealogy tree and seeing who you think might be somebody you want to have this conversation with. And you're probably already starting to process this, right? And you may have already done it too, but those people with high sales success. So sales are growing, they're consistent in placing orders, which means they don't skip a whole lot of orders, right? They pay their order on time. They have customers, or they're growing customers, and they leverage the tools that Avon has out there, like the new Beauty Essentials bundle. I challenge you to look at those new people too, right? So you may have some new people on your team who are doing really awesome at the Kickstart program, or maybe they've been with us for, a year or so, but they've never missed an order. Those are people that you really want to have this conversation with about becoming a leader and what leadership means and the potential for income with leadership. Anything else on here that's important when identifying your next leader besides what we've got on the screen? Again, I think we pretty much covered it, right? Pretty much all on there. So now we've determined how we can plan to grow our teams. Let's shift focus on planning our time and activities. And I heard it from all of you again that this is probably where we see the most opportunity. So Avon time is the time you dedicate just to your business. We've got a lot of things going on, right? We've got family, we've got social time, you've got me time, you've got Avon time, you've got work possibly, right? The only way you can ensure that you achieve spending time with all of these people and on your business is to plan it. So, unfortunately, when you've got a million things going on, right? You've got to have it written down and on a calendar. Otherwise, you're going to miss something. And it may be your crucial me time that we all need. We all need family time. We all need me time away from all the hustle and bustle. So if you have a great action plan and your plan is in place and set on your calendar, then you will find that you have more free time to do the things that you want to do. So how many of you on here are full-time Avon? I think everybody is. I have to look at my list. Everybody on here does Avon full-time, correct? On the call today. Because I'm going to
Correct.
tell you right now, the people that don't, they're not on the call because they're at work. So we've got 3 other individuals, Melanie, Aurelis, and Miriam. They are not on the call because literally they are at work. So they do not do Avon full time. So we've got half of you that do and half of you that don't. So this is great to look at this because we're going to have a lot of differences, right? As we go through today, most of you are going to be very similar probably. But for the 3 of them, it's going to be a little bit different because they've got, their job. So they're probably not devoting as much time as the 4 of you are to Avon. So if you're working part-time, so some of them do work part-time, right? And then how many of you vary your Avon time from week to week or month to month? Does that happen? That probably happens to all of us, right? Or are you pretty consistent across the board?
I'm very consistent.
Good. That's Jackie. Jackie's a gold leader, so she pretty much is a gold leader. That's one of the things she has to do is keep pretty consistent because her team is so large. In her customer base. I'm trying to be consistent now. Yeah, Cynthia is. This is something Cynthia is getting back into, and we'll talk about that in a minute too, but planning her schedule again like she used to in order to be consistent, right? Because she's had kids, she stayed at home, that kind of thing. Things come up and you have to change, you have to adapt, but now she's getting back into what she used to do that worked well for her in order to manage her time a little bit better. So that's coming back for her as well. But you will see that, your time might be totally different from week to week, especially those people who have, a part-time job. They may work 3 days a week and it may be different days every week. They might not know what their schedule even is from week to week. So it's something to always keep in mind too for those people who are on your team. So you kind of know what they're dealing with and what they're going through because it very much can change. My schedule completely changes. Yes, I have office hours set day to day, but then I also have 1 week where I work like 3 nights a week. And then 1 week I don't work any nights, right? So it's totally different. So what do you need to consider when establishing your time, your Avon time? So we've got some stuff up here. So how much time is required to achieve your goals? Yes, we want to consider that, right? Because what if you have a goal? What if you're bronze ambassador and you have a goal to be gold leader by the end of the year? You're probably going to need a lot of time devoted to Avon, right? And then how much time do you have available given your other responsibilities? So how much time do you have available because you are at home taking care of your kids all day long? Or, you do have a full-time job that pulls you away, or, you just want to spend time with your family. Realistically, how much time do we need to get there? And can we maybe cut some of these hours, or are there a couple places we can add some more hours? Or can we just make the hours that we are dedicating a little bit more efficient and effective in order to grow our business and get to our goals? So we're going to talk further now about how we actually spend our time. It's important to get the most out of your dedicated time. Now think about your current time, the time you spend working on your business. Look at these activities and the examples under each. So we've got planning, selling, managing, and leading. And it gives you activities under each one. And then you want to ask yourself, how much or what percent of your Avon time are you spending doing these things? And this is actually on your application guide. I believe it's on page 2. I don't have it in front of me. We're getting to it in a minute. But you may want to have that out and think about that right now. So percentage of time that you're spending, right? And then you've got a lot of people spend a high percentage of time on selling and planning is what I've seen. Are you looking at it and what each one is the description on your screen? What do you guys feel like you spend the most time doing right now?
I think mine goes from selling and management.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the same.
Yeah. That's what I usually see across the board is like the selling and managing. And sometimes planning. A lot of times we spend a lot of time planning and no time actually doing. Yeah. So Cynthia said planning took her a lot of time, but now that she's planned out, hopefully, she won't have to, you obviously have to plan every week and every day a little bit, but hopefully she won't need to devote so much time now to planning if you have a good plan set in place. So great. We actually recommend that you spend 50 to 70% of the time on your personal business. So all three of those things that include personal, planning, selling, and managing. And then we recommend that you spend 25 to 50% of your time leading your team. Now, why do you think, or how do you think you determine the right balance for you? Because it's going to be very different depending on a couple things.
Well, some of it is just what kind of issues your team has and how long it takes for you to help them resolve those issues. And you can't always know what's coming.
Right.
Every campaign is different for me, basically.
So what I'm hearing from Jackie is exactly the right answer because Jackie has a large team. So she's probably spending more time in leading than many of us are, right? Because her team is so large. So she's probably spending closer to 40 to 50% of her time in leading. And some of you may feel like you're only spending like 15 to 25% of your time in leading right now because you may have the difference between 30 people on your team and 450 people on your team. It's going to look a lot different, right? So it totally depends on team size, depending on what you're looking at. So once you determine how you will balance your time between your personal and your leading your team, you need to consider how much of your selling time you spend on product selling and opportunity sales. So most people divide it, and we encourage that to split your time equally between selling the products and selling the opportunities. A lot of times they go hand in hand too. You may be out, passing out books, but you come across somebody who's interested in the opportunity, kind of like what happened with Jackie, right, at church. She was thinking it would be a sale, but then it ended up being possibly somebody added to her team. And that's what happens a lot of the time. So do you guys have that balanced out? Do you have specific time for outreach for customers and specific time for outreach for team members? Or are you going to now going forward? Not sure. Do you guys group it together now? Do you just not plan it? It just is what it is? I don't know. Just is what it is. If you run into somebody, great. If you don't, you don't. I don't know. I mean, what's it looking like for all of you right now?
That's kind of what I do. Just let it happen.
Okay. So you don't have any specific time planned out for either one, whether it be customers or the opportunity, sharing the opportunity.
I usually try to take one day a week and spend about a half a day on, sending emails out to potential customers.
Okay.
And not customers, but prospects.
Okay.
And but I never know what day it's going to be. It's just when I have a free time.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. So it sounds like to me, go ahead. Sorry.
I always spend one day selling because I'm doing my order.
Right.
And it takes me a whole day to get my order together because I have people that are hard to get up with. So you have to text, leave messages, and you never know exactly how long it's going to take because a lot of people have questions, especially if you're working with a new person in skincare.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always spend Wednesday when the order comes in, goes off. That's my day to get my order together, selling. Then I do a ship separate order on Sunday, and I spend several hours Sunday afternoon getting that together. Then Monday and Wednesday of the next week, that's when we deliver. So those are set times that we have a routine that Tommy and I pretty much stay in.
Okay.
We're very consistent in those areas.
Okay. Good. Good. So
And
it
then,
is.
you have to send your no orders. People. This time I had several people that normally do not have orders on hold that had orders on hold that required a good bit of time. So until I go into Vibe and see after the order bills, I really don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing, how much time it's going to take.
Yeah, because you don't know if it's going to be, 20 people you're sending an on-hold order to or 2. I mean, if you plan out, though, an hour, I mean, no matter how many people it is, an hour, right? And we'll look at this as we sit down together, but an hour should be plenty for all of it, right? And we can cluster some stuff together, too, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. So let's say you do, hopefully, only have 2 people, then you can work on some of your other cluster items during that hour. So, and then sometimes it just might take you the whole hour to do all of your hold order emails. And we're going to talk about prioritizing those activities. It's actually it's not this slide, it's the next slide. So we're going to talk about that. So once you understand how you should balance those activities, it's important to actually plan what you're going to do. So writing down all of your planned activities in order to prioritize them. Reflect on your activities and break them down into tasks when possible. The more specific you are, the better. Smaller tasks are more actionable and less intimidating. So let's say, for instance, you're going to participate in a Mother's Day vendor event. You may need to do these 3 tasks, right? Send a confirmation to the event coordinator. So send something that you're going to be there, right? Get your products and catalogs together for the event, and then go as far as planning what you're going to wear. So you may want to set aside like your Avon button t-shirt, make sure you have your name tag. I think this is what I like about breaking it down. I mean, it sounds kind of like ridiculous, right? You're like, oh, wow, I'm going to plan my outfit. But I actually do this when we do large events too. What am I wearing? Do I set it out? If you plan that down to how long each one of those take you, then you need 30 minutes to get ready, or you need an hour to get ready. The biggest thing on this too is a lot of times we forget our drive time all the time, right? So you forget that you need to go to this vendor event and it's all the way in, I don't know, Clover, South Carolina. Well, you need a couple hours to get there and get back, right? So are you allotting for that? Because it's going to take up 4 hours of your day that you're not allowing for. Are you allowing for the time to pack your car or to get those customer orders ready? Because all of that is Avon time. So how much time does that take? Because you may find that you have a lot less hours to do the other things you do in a day because you have all of that to do. I have my A week things. Hang on. Sorry, Cynthia's writing and it went away. So Cynthia has her A week things to do and B week, and also every day different tasks. Some days are selling more than team and some days are more team tasks. Yeah. And that's usually what it looks like, where you've got, yeah, and we all probably have that, right? We have our order week and our non-order week, right? Or some of you now, I know, like Gail, is placing an order every week. So if you're placing an order every week and it's on the same day, your weeks may mirror each other. But yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a week where you have an event, or there's going to be, which takes way more way more time up, right? Because you have to get everything ready for the event. But I like this task list. So we've got, planning a fundraiser, plan for upcoming quarter, follow up no orders. This could be everything in 1 week, right? So you're just making the task list and then you're breaking each task down into smaller activities. So the tasks may be what's on your calendar, but you know that you need to do step 1, 2, and 3 for each one of those tasks in order to get it completed. I like a list too. Some people like a list to check off, some people don't. So whatever works good for you. So this is what I was talking about, putting things into different quadrants based on urgency and importance. And this really helps you to prioritize what is going to get you to your end result the most quickly. So we've got the right side, which is urgent and important. So that's your main focus. That's why it says focus there, right? So we've got urgent and important. That's for now. That's for this campaign. Those are the things that are going to, again, get you to your goal or to get you to grow now. They're things you can't leave for later. You just can't. And some of the things are call people, call customers, right? You have to call your customers every time because you have to have an order. Like Jackie said, she's got a whole day she devotes to that, right? Coach leaders with titles at risk. Oh my gosh, super urgent, right? If someone's going to fall off or lose their title, we have to follow up with them because that's affecting their leadership check, right? We need to figure out what's going on with them. Following up on no orders. Yep, no orders, hold orders. Have to do it. It's urgent. You have to do it now. It's going to affect the whole team. It's going to affect their business, the person on your team's business. So we need to do that right then. And then you've got not urgent, but still important. So things that you're setting up maybe for next campaign. So you've got events coming up, you really want to have a team meeting, but in that team meeting, what you're doing is actually modeling it for your team in order for them to be able to duplicate it. So it may be a one-time team meeting that you're doing, but then you've got 2 or 3 people on your team that are going to take it over from there. Holding coaching conversations with your downline. It's important, not urgent. It's pretty important. So to me, that's a borderline one. It's pretty urgent as well. But again, it may be for next campaign because it's not affecting right now. It's going to fall in between one of those categories. Then you've got less important but urgent. These are those things we were talking about clustering together. So you may have an hour every day if time allots for it, where you're planning your admin. Maybe on your calendar, all it says is admin, and then you've got your list to the side, your to-do list, right, of things like responding to I'm going to say instead of customer complaint, I'm going to say team member complaint. You've got answering questions from your downline. You've got those hold order emails. You've got calling hold orders because they literally only have 1 day left, right? That might be an urgent. We might put that in urgent, important. But those are things you can cluster together. All that admin stuff, like on my calendar, all it says is admin because I know that's the time to send out emails to you guys to do some recognition. I text people. I look on Facebook pages to see what's going on. It's going to look different, right, for everyone, depending on what you need to get done in a day. And then delegating. This is the hardest one for every single one of us because we all want to be in control of our business. It's why all of you are entrepreneurs, right? You want to be in control. You're the boss. You want to do it all yourself. But guess what? It's so nice when you can delegate it to somebody else. So if you have a newsletter, which I know quite a few of you do, is there somebody on your team who can take that off your shoulder? Maybe you've, done the template, but you've got a different leader who does it every time. Train your downline on products. Hello, you can delegate that to them and just tell them that they can go to youravon.com or they can go on Avon U. Reorganizing files on your computer. Wow, I would love to delegate this to somebody, wouldn't you? I know, Jackie, you're probably delegating it to Tommy, right? To reorganize everything on your computer. Here, you do it. It could be, one of your kids. I know a lot of representatives' children's, like they stamp their books or label their books for them. They get out the bags and put samples in the bags every time for them. There's people that do inventory, for people. So it's so many different things. I mean, obviously you're not going to delegate somebody to call your customer, but you can delegate the brochures and things like that to somebody else. But I love the idea of the newsletter and trainings, any kind of trainings that you're doing, they can go online and do. So it's not anything that you need to do. Or it may be simply just sending them to a YouTube page where somebody's done a video and they can watch the video, and you don't need to spend 30 minutes explaining something to somebody who's already, it's already out there. It's already created for them how to place their first order. Here, watch the video, and then if you have any questions, let me know. Speaking of let me know, is it on here? I want to talk about it, but it's on one of these slides. I'm going to go into it, and if it's on the slide, we'll skip it. But speaking of that piece, how many of you have specific office hours for your leaders or your representatives in order to give you a call? Oh, it is on the slide. Good. Do you have specific hours set every week?
I don't.
Okay. Have you tried it before?
No.
Okay. Not me, so nobody. Just something to think about. A lot of the top leaders do this. They actually set leader hours, representative hours. And just an example would be like 9 to 11 Tuesdays and Thursdays. I will tell you, it takes some getting used to on your end and on their end, because you're so used to picking up the phone for everything that they call you for. What if you had specific hours where they could call you? Would that free up some of your time? If they can only call you it's not to say that they can't call you. If there's an emergency, they can still call you, but you might not answer. You can tell them that, listen, I've got my schedule is jam-packed. Can it wait until Thursday from 9 to 11? You hate it? You're like, no way. Not going to work?
I don't like it because what I hear from my people is they have an issue and they can't get anybody to help them. And because we don't have district managers anymore, and they just feel people need to know that they can get a hold of somebody if they have an urgent issue. And personally, I would rather take care of it as it comes than all at one time. That's just a personal preference.
Okay.
At this point, that might change at some time, but at this point, that's kind of how I feel about it.
I see where you're coming from. I will say that I feel that when someone calls you and you try to fix an issue right then and there and don't have something scheduled, sometimes it can delineate your day for the whole entire day. So it literally, I call them time saboteurs, and you sometimes know who they are, and you may pick up the phone, and it's something literally that they could have called CIC for, or they could have called, they could have found on their own. They didn't even need to call anybody. They literally could have found it on their own. But they don't even try because they're so used to a district manager or yourself being at their beck and call constantly. This is their own business. Are they running it like it's their business? And I'm not saying you're not right, Jackie, that there's going to be some people, like if Sandy calls you, she probably has a good reason, right? But you know some of those people who call you for every little thing that they literally could have waited until Thursday at 9 a.m. to call you, or they could have called CIC and got it figured out themselves. I feel a sense of relief. I feel a sense of relief, and this is my personality, and it's probably all of yours on this call, when I don't have to call somebody for an answer and I can find it myself. I feel like I accomplished something. I get excited because I'm like, woohoo, I did it on my own. You know, I'm not going to spend 3 hours of my time trying to find something. If it's taking me that long, I'm going to call somebody. But, you know, empower them to try to find it for themselves. And again, there's going to be urgent situations where their order didn't come and they've called CIC. And, you know, they're freaking out because their customer needs, obviously they're going to call you and you're going to answer. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's an emergency for sure. There's going to be those situations. But I'm talking about, you know, they can't find their RPS calendar and they've been with us for 5 years and they're calling you, asking you where it is. I mean, those kind of calls is all I'm saying. I'm not saying like those urgent emergencies, because we obviously have those. But it's just something, I'm just throwing it out there. It's just kind of a consideration for those leader hours. Again, it does take a lot of getting used to on both ends, you know, because they are used to you picking up their call, and that's amazing. I mean, that's fantastic that you can be there for them, but it delineates your schedule and your goal, because then you're off track for the whole rest of the day because they called you when you were supposed to be doing something else, right? Or you wanted to be doing something else in order to grow your business. So again, just keep it in mind. I'm not, you know, we're just talking through it. It might work for you, it might not. So it's going to be different for everybody. But when you do have those specific hours, and this is even something I do for my admin hours, you want to go somewhere where, you know, you're comfortable, it's quiet, you're devoting all of your attention to that leadership representative, right? All of your attention, all of your focus is on them. So they know that from 9 to 11, Tuesdays and Thursdays, they're going to be able to get a hold of you, and you're going to be listening and helping whatever their need might be. Same thing for admin hours. And some people, like they wrote on here, coffee shop, restaurant, hotel lobby. I like to be in my office with my door closed. I mean, in a quiet place, you know, just where you, again, can devote all of your attention to them. So here's the 2-week calendar. Again, a calendar is going to be your roadmap to achieving your goals. If you don't have a roadmap out there, your goal is just kind of floating in the air. It's a hope, right? I hope I make it. We'll see. Well, if you have a good plan and you have it written down and you have it scheduled out with activities that support that plan, then you will get there. If you don't get there in the 3 weeks you set aside for yourself, guess what? You're going to get a whole lot closer in those 3 weeks. So this, again, is an example of a 2-week calendar. This person obviously does it part-time. She actually works during the hours that it looks like her kids are in school, from like 10 to 3 every day. And then she's got a couple things she puts on there at night, right? Like you may have a training that you have to do. We all have to kind of adapt to that kind of thing. We've got our virtual sales meetings during the day now. So, but you may have time set aside to, you know, get on Vibe and play around at night to see, you know, what's going on with that. Or you may have a team meeting at night that you're attending. So ask yourself, does your calendar reflect the right balance of activities and tasks, again, to achieve your short-term and long-term goals? Are you planning to be busy or productive? So does your calendar just filled up with a whole bunch of stuff, but it's really stuff that's never going to get you to your goal? Or is it planned out activities in order to, again, support that goal and that dream. Look at it after you do it and say, is there anything on here I can let somebody else do for me? Can somebody else take a little bit of this weight off of my shoulders? And if they can, ask them. Again, empower them. It's something that's, going to help them go forward in order, to support one of their top talents. Did I mark time for handling a cluster of tasks that are urgent but not important? So do I have that admin time on there, or do I have that, follow-up emails on there, follow-up phone calls, whatever it is? Am I setting proper boundaries to be effective with my time? So you see some white space on here. That's good. She got from 11 to 12 on that Monday, a little bit of white space. The white space is nice because it allows you time to breathe, go to the restroom, whatever it might be. Sometimes those other things run over 15 minutes. It gives you a little bit of buffer space. So white space is good. Do you guys see what I mean by white space? She's got stuff in between each activity. Yeah. It's purple.
Yes.
It's purple space on her calendar because her whole calendar is highlighted in purple, but mine is white space. And when I see you guys, I will always share my calendar with you. I'll let you see because I color code it, and you don't need to do any of that. It's just for me. It's just helps me see what is what. Like, oh, I have a meeting with a leader, and I have this, and I need a reminder here, so it's bright yellow because otherwise I'll forget that one, kind of thing. But whatever works for you. And a lot of you talk to me about not doing a calendar electronically, so on your phone or email. That's fine. Whatever works for you. So if you have, in a planner and you carry it with you, fantastic. Just plan out for 2 weeks, what that calendar is going to look like. And speaking of the calendar, let's flip to your application guide, because that last page of your application guide is a 2-week calendar. What I'm going to say to you is, don't worry about this page if you have a planner or you have an electronic calendar. Fill out your calendar. Don't even use this page. So X this last page. If you don't have a calendar and this is brand new to you, then you may want to use this page. But I believe, I know the 4 of you do have a calendar of some sort, but some people may not. So for this is, you do not need this unless you want to use it as a guideline. You can just use whatever you use now. Does that make sense to everybody? So don't fill out the 4th page if you already have a calendar. So I just made it easier on you, right? Good.
Great.
You don't need the 4th page if you have a calendar. Now, as you go through this, you may feel like you want to change your calendar a little bit because you're going to come up with some tasks to schedule and things like that. So this first page is really about planning your outreach. Has everybody read through it? So it's just potential new team members, team growth activities, things you're going to do in the field to find new team members or via, social media, whatever it may be. Potential leaders. So remember, we talked about the potential leaders who are high in motivation and high in sales. So you're going to be able to go through and look at your tree and identify who those potential new leaders on your team would be. This page is pretty self-explanatory, right? Any questions on page 1? Page 2, the first part, you're going to do my weekly Avon time commitment. So 30 hours, 12 hours, Gail, 82 hours. I'm just kidding, Gail. Whatever it may be, put a realistic time on there. Gail, you came off mute. Do you want to say something?
That's pretty close.
Don't really put 82
That's pretty
hours.
close.
But what do you want to work? So let's say you could put what you actually are working if it's 82 hours. But I mean,
That's what I'm saying. That's pretty close, see?
I know, that's why I said
Just
it.
by far.
That's why I said it. So put up here how many hours you are working. And then next, you want to plan the quadrants. So time, percent of time that you're dedicating now in each one of these fields. So 25, 20, it has to equal 100%. 20, 20, 20, 20, 20 would equal 100%. So remember, team leading, this is all personal metrics. This is team. Jackie is probably spending more time here, right? Because our team is so large. So Jackie and Tommy might have 40% here. Or maybe now they only have 25, but they want to take it to 30 or 40, okay? So that's going to be based on right now what you're allocating, and it's a guesstimate. I mean, you don't know for sure unless you can look at your calendar and say it's 18% here. I mean, it's a guesstimate. And then how much time going forward percentage you want to dedicate in each one of these areas. So, and then you want to read through these questions. Are you planning to spend 20 to 50% of your time working with your team? Are you planning to spend 50 on personal? Are you spending equal amount of time selling the opportunity and selling the products? We talked a lot about that, right? And then down here, you've got your quadrants and some examples. And then on page 3 is where you're going to you can type in or write in, some of the things and activities you're going to do and tasks you're going to do in these quadrants. What are some things you do, or how do you want to shift it around now? How do you want to shift your plan? Are you spending too much time on less important, non-urgent things that you should be spending more of that time on those urgent, important tasks, right? And then it just asks you some questions. So what are some things you can schedule in the future? What are some things you can delegate? What's your immediate focus? So what's your important urgents? And then your setup. How will you set yourself up for success? Oops, I don't know what happened. Let me go back. How will you set yourself up for success in managing your time? How will you limit distractions? And that's, again, those time saboteurs. So how are you going to limit those people from derailing your schedule, your plan with things that they have? And then, so what is your focus, your call to action? And then your 2-week calendar will also be part of our conversation for our one-on-one. So I will ask you to either send me a picture, if it's in a planner, of your 2-week calendar, or if you have a Google or Outlook calendar, to just share it with me. If you don't know how to do that, you can call me and we'll walk through it together. But yeah, a picture is fine too. So just a little snippet of your 2-week calendar. It is not required for you to share your calendar with me. It just helps us really delve into a little bit better if I can see what your tasks and activities are for each day, and we can walk through what all of those are and how they're, pertaining to your plan. So any questions on the application guide? Great. So wonderful. So this is our next hot topic question. So next Friday, not this coming Friday, next Friday, we've got 2 weeks, remember. Share an experience in your past when you got lost. Explain how it made you feel and how you overcame it. It could be lost in the business. It could be lost physically, like lost on a road somewhere, lost in a town somewhere, you don't know where you are, whatever it is. An experience in your past where you got lost, how it made you feel, and how you overcame it. The reason why is, right, you have to have a roadmap again, remember? So the plan is a roadmap to your goal. So a goal without a plan is just a wish. Remember, I said it's just kind of floating out there in the air if we don't have a plan, if we don't have a roadmap. We need to have a map of our goal in order to achieve our goal. This is one of my favorite quotes. I love it. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So it's from the author of The Little Prince. Wonderful. Any questions? Are we good to go? You excited for planning? No? Yes, Cynthia said. I love planning. So you guys know goal setting and planning are my favorite ones, and I think they'll be yours too. I know that they take a little bit more time, but it truly will, help in the growth of your business and for the future and getting to your short and long-term goals. So I look forward to all of your plans. I know you guys have a lot of amazing things coming up as we spoke in the field over the last week. So um, I'm excited. I'm excited to see the results. It's going to be fantastic. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am off Wednesday and Friday this week. It's my son's birthday Saturday, so I took some time off to get ready. So if anybody needs me, though, obviously just leave me a message. Even though I'm off, if you really need me, I will get back to you. Especially you that are in the program. So just know that. And anything you need, let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of the week. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a great Easter. I will not speak to anybody. So everybody take some time this weekend. Enjoy your family and friends. And I will talk to everybody next week on our one-on-ones.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Take care. I'll talk to everyone soon.
Bye.
Bye.
I have been texting Teresa